Hi, everyone. So to
Hello.
start off today, welcome. Today is April 20th, and we are excited to be doing our session Creating Comic Books for Language Learning, the Global Educators Resource Bank with Frank Fanelli Jr. He's an amazing graphic artist, a comic book designer, and educator. So we're very grateful that he's here with us this evening. As a few reminders, please remember to mute yourself when you sign on to this meet. This will cut down on background noise so we can move along and make sure that we are respectful of everyone's time. Please introduce yourself in the chat. We'd love to hear where you're from and what you teach, what age levels you teach. And don't forget to fill out the attendance form. You can use this QR code, or you can also use the link in the chat. Okay. So for today's schedule, we're going to go through a few quick announcements. We'll get to hear from Frank, and he has some amazing activities and kind of insight for you that you can use in your classrooms. Then we'll have some time for question and answers. We'll have some breakout rooms. And then Armin is going to talk to us a little bit about an amazing activity that you can do already tonight, starting tomorrow or whatever time it is there with your students. So again, don't forget to fill out the attendance form, mute your mic. If you get disconnected, this event is live streaming on the Facebook page. We will be announcing more details about the lesson plan challenge and prizes on Facebook, so please stay tuned. And without further ado, I'm going to ask Armin to go ahead and get us started with a little warm-up activity.
All right. Sounds very good. We are happy that you're all here. I think that you can see me. Could pin my video if you wanted to. But what we'll just do is, what was it that we did last time? Oh yeah, a little bit of the ocean breath. So the ocean breath is a simple breath. And the way it works is when you're breathing, you're going to make a sound. And the sound is like this. So you can try it for a second. Okay, very good. We'll do the same sound now, but with our mouth closed. Okay? And it'll sound like this when you breathe in. And when you breathe out, it sounds like this. And we'll just do about 5 of them. It makes us more relaxed and more calm. And then I'll show one other technique, and then we can jump into Frank's class. So I'll invite everyone, if they want to close their eyes, they can. If they want to relax their hands, they can. And we'll take a big breath in with the ocean sound. Stop for a second, and then breathe out. That's 1. Calming our nervous system to be prepared for learning. Breathe in, number 2. Pause for a second, and then breathe out. 2, very good. Breathe in, 3. You can have a little smile on your face if you want to. Pause, and then breathe out. 3. Breathe in, 4. And pause, and then breathe out. 4. And the last one, breathe in, 5. Kind of slowing ourselves down for a moment. Pause. And breathe out, 5. Slowly. Ocean breath. Okay. can rub your hands. Put your hands on your eyes, and then you can put your hands on your keyboard, and you can think, oh, how am I feeling right now? And you can write it in the chat box. We'd love to know. Feeling a bit full. I just had dinner, but that's okay. I'm also feeling relaxed. Relax. We carry so much stuff, right? All day long. This is a moment to let it go away. And with that, I'm going to do the short intro for Frank, and Louise can add as well. Frank is a good friend of mine, a childhood friend. We've grown up together. And he's also a very talented artist and comic book writer, and he also teaches kids about graphic design and stop motion, and he's just a very creative person, a very inspiring person. And we collaborate. Frank also plays the guitar, and I do poetry. So we have fun. We're always creative together. And we want to kind of invite you to join us in learning a little bit about how you can bring comics as a teaching modality into your English teaching classroom. Louise, would you like to add anything else, or can we let Frank do his magic?
No, we can go ahead and get started.
All right, Frank, go for it.
You get kicked off our live streaming on the Facebook page.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead, Frank.
I think I unmuted myself. Yeah, we're good. You can hear me?
You're all good.
All good. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
All right, so I'm going to do a short introduction to myself. Hi, my name is Frank Fanelli, Jr. I'm a graphic designer and also animator. Hi. I earned an AAS degree in communications design and a BFA degree in computer animation and interactive media. And I got those from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. So I work as a graphic designer, and I also I do freelance. I do freelance animation, freelance graphic design. I also run workshops at a local art center in my town, and I offer computer classes and stop motion animation classes. We can't do any more computer classes right now because of the COVID-19, but we can do in person if everybody stays apart. So that's what we've been doing. So we've been doing stop motion animation using tablets, the software on there. So that's cool. Anyway, let's get into it. So I myself recently completed a comic book with a group of college friends. It was based on a concept we originally developed as a pitch for a Nickelodeon contest. Well, and that was a while back. That was like maybe like 6 years ago, maybe more. But we thought, wouldn't it be cool? We ended up not winning, but wouldn't it be cool if we do something? Not maybe make an animation that would take so much effort. Maybe we do a comic. So that's what we decided to do, and we went ahead and we did it. And after all that time, we actually were able to complete it. I had a group of I think it was 4 or 5 of us. 5 of us. I can't remember. Oh my goodness, the names are on the front. So we went and we did it. We created a comic with our story, Space Sorcerer, about an astronaut boy and his squid companion. So there it is. So we learned a lot as a group. We went from not knowing much about comic book development to knowing how to go from an idea to sketches, drawing out the character, what's he going to look like, to writing dialogue, what are they going to say, how are they going to sound, to layout, how are we going to position all the pictures on the page, and even to publishing. I work at a graphic design shop, and I have access, luckily, I have access to a printer and layout software, and I was able to design it on my free time. So I actually printed this myself. I didn't go to like another company to print it for me. I actually we had the paper here and I printed it and we stapled it and everything. Okay, so I myself, I learned how to develop a story, make it compelling with interesting dialogue and character behaviors. I also taught myself how to create and format lettering, which is the words in the book. I'll show you a sample. So, so this here, this good guy, he started throwing up. If you look closely, it's like almost actual space. There's little stars and planets coming out. But the action letters are the words here, where it says smack because he hit the top of the ceiling. So I taught myself how to draw out the lettering and also how to add all the lettering for the conversations. So you see, the lighting is a little bad, but all the parts where characters are talking and their text bubbles and such. So we had a lot of fun making this, and that's a key motivator. You have to have fun. It helps a lot when learning is fun. So if you can get your students to get engaged and feel like they're having fun, sometimes you don't even know that you're learning. You're absorbing it. You're having fun. Just like a video game, you play a video game and you're having fun, but you don't realize, hey, I'm learning some problem-solving skills by playing this video game, or I'm learning. A lot of games have a lot of text-heavy games, a lot of reading in games, and you learn how to read from video games, and you don't realize it because you're having fun. So fun is a great motivator. Definitely keep that in mind. So comics and graphic novels, they can help with language learning because they're packed full of conversations, as you saw. They make reading fun with the use of exciting characters, artwork, and storytelling. And comics can also tell stories with just illustrations as well. There are plenty of comics out there, comic strips, that don't have any words at all. It's just pictures that tell the story. So illustrations can help readers understand why characters are saying something particular, and help you to understand the story better. And even if they're having trouble understanding the dialogue or there's a word you don't know, the pictures help you understand what the situation is, what's happening in the situation. So pictures are great in combinations with words. Okay. Having students make their own comics will allow them to be creative and invent their own characters and story. I want to encourage students to use their imagination while learning. I believe comics can be used to test a student's abilities and have them express themselves creatively. So it feels good. We created this from our minds. We made up the character. We created what they look like. It feels so accomplishing to know that I made this. And I'd like for my students to feel that as well. So in classes I teach stop motion animation, I try to encourage students to not make a character say like Scooby-Doo or SpongeBob. Don't make a character already made already. Make something, maybe it's a character that goes in SpongeBob's world, or maybe it's another dog that's going to help Scooby-Doo out. Make your own character, make your own world, make your own story. Yeah, other stories are out there to help you, but now make your own. And that's what we did. And yes, you can. There's a lot of elements you can, if you pay attention to our comic story, you can see like, oh, they got this idea from, I believe there was a Twilight Zone episode, which my comic is somewhat based on. So yeah, so looking at other stories to try to come up with ideas for yourself is a good thing too. It's definitely good to reference what's out there already, because everything's been done before, and you want to take it and you want to twist it and make it your own and make it your own style with your own characters and change things here and there until it becomes your own. Okay, so I'm going to go over comic making. Making a simple comic is easy. All you really need is paper, a pencil, and some basic drawing skills. If you want to go digital, there's also plenty of apps out there. Armin was just showing me a really cool app that somebody was using to make a comic, and it was pretty neat. I gotta say, he has to send me it later. But there's plenty of apps out there in the Google Play Store and the Apple Store to just get going with drawing and making comics. I myself used an app called Procreate. Now that's more of a drawing application, but I used it to draw out all the words, the letters, the big bubble letters, like you saw earlier, where it said smack and splat, and to draw out some of the characters as well. And then I brought them into the computer, and I used like Photoshop, some professional software on my computer to finish it all together. But Procreate really helped me a lot. So there's a list of apps. I believe I sent them to Armin, and he's gonna link you guys to that. So, all right. Okay, so I believe stories, big and small, can be broken into 3 sections. You got a beginning, you got a middle, and you have an end. All right, so I'm gonna give an example now. I'm gonna tell you guys 2 characters and a story involving them. So, and I'm gonna break it into comic panels, how I would do that. So I know some of you are here for the second time, so it's gonna be the same shark and turtle story. So character 1 is a shark, a confident shark that can stand and walk on its back fins, so it can get out of the water and walk around. And character 2 is a frightened, onlooking turtle. So it's seeing this shark and going, oh, I don't want anything with this guy. Okay, so if we go back to those 3 sections, a beginning, middle, and end, I'm gonna come up with bits of story to make these characters, to put these characters into. All right, so we're on a road. The shark and the turtle are on opposite sides of the road. There's an ocean in the background, and the shark asks the turtle, why did the shark cross the road? Now there's a joke, why did the chicken cross the road? And it's an old joke. And the answer is to get to the other side. It's like, you anticipate, oh, why did the chicken cross the road? And then the joke is, it's just to get to the other side. So this story is a play on that old joke. So this is the middle part. The scared turtle withdraws, goes into its shell and replies, I don't know, why? And the end part of the story is the shark's gonna cross the road. He scares the turtle more. But instead of attacking the turtle or eating him, he jumps into the ocean and replies, to get to the other tide, like an ocean tide. And then the turtle looks on in relief. So that's the end of the story. And I think we can tell this story very well in 4 panels. So I already did it. I planned out the panels. I drew them. So I'm going to screen share and show you what I drew. Hold on 1 second.
I got it, Frank. They can see it. I'm sharing it for you.
Oh, you're sharing it for me? That's
Yep.
perfect. Okay, so I will turn off my screen share.
Tell us about it. What's happening?
Okay. Okay, so this is the Shark and Turtle comic. Why did the shark cross the road? Says the shark. So I drew it out. I put them, like I said, in between the road. The turtle, there's a close-up on the turtle on the second panel. I don't know why. The ocean's still in the background. It looks like clouds, but these are just rough sketches. And the shark goes ahead and crosses the road, scaring the turtle. And then he jumps into the ocean instead and says, to get to the other tide. And that's it. So that's how I would draw them out. So, all right. So I'm going to go over right now an idea for a beginner lesson to help students develop their ideas. Okay, second. Okay. All right, I got it. Okay, so number one.
I'm sharing it. Go ahead.
Oh, great, great. Thanks. You're helping me out, Armin. Thank you. All right, so brainstorm your characters and story. I recommend working with 2 characters because you can have them talk to one another. 3 might be too much. I mean, you can go with 3 if you want to really challenge yourself. But for a beginner lesson, I'd say stick with 2. So that way you have 2 characters. They can interact with one another, and it should work. 2, break up your story into a beginning, a middle, and end, just like I did with my shark and turtle story. Now, think of dialogue. Come up with some dialogue your characters will say to one another. Try and keep it short. 4, draw some sketches. What are these characters going to look like? Draw some sketches, draw a front view, draw a side view, draw from above. Try to get an idea of what that character is going to look like. Again, you can use an app, you can use a piece of paper and a pencil. I used a marker and paper to do that with that image you saw. And now it's time to storyboard it out. So storyboarding is like what you see there. Very rough sketches that just kind of show where the characters are going to be and how it's going to be. So what I would do for my comic is we drew out like very rough drawings like that. And then we took those and now we knew where all the characters are going to be, and we can either trace over it or redraw it. And this time really pay attention and make it look good. And panels can be resized to change, to tell the story better, to emphasize on a big moment, and or to show like, oh, this is just a small moment. So you can make a small panel. So you can change the panels to help fit everything. And as I was saying, cleanly draw out or ink. They call it inking in the comic world. When you draw like clean black lines for your characters. Your planned panels after you storyboarded it out, and be sure to leave room for text bubbles. You're gonna want your characters to talk, but if you fill the page up with all this art, then where are we gonna put that text? So you got to keep that in mind. Say, okay, the character's gonna say like 3 words in this panel, so the bubble's gonna be small. So maybe it'll be up here in the top left, and that should work out. You got to think about the words before. It's always good to. And then you add the dialogue in the bubbles, and that's really it. Plan it out, and you make sure that characters interact. It's like a little show, a little play that you're making with these drawings. Now, what I would like for everyone here to think about is how, like, I understand that you guys are your language teachers. How would you take this lesson this beginner lesson I just pitched to you guys and customize it and change it now to work with a lesson that you have, or like a conversation lesson, or I mean, any lesson that you had that involves language? How would you take that and now combine it with this lesson here? Now, comics, they do have a lot of character interactions, talking back and forth, as do like TV shows and cartoons. So that might be a good, I think that's a good way to try and think. So I'm gonna bring it to Armin right now.
Okay. Well, thank you, Frank.
And muted.
I think we can go ahead and see if anyone has any questions for Frank.
feel free to write it in the chat box or just unmute yourself and speak. We'd love to hear it.
Mhm.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. It's Mandembe from Senegal.
Hey.
Thank you, Frank. My question is, how can we use comics to teach grammar, for example?
Grammar.
To teach grammar in communicative grammar teaching. How can we use comics in communicative grammar teaching? Thank you.
Okay. I'm thinking of like two characters, and like if you have any sort of like grammar lessons where a character, I don't know, like let's say like tense, like past tense and present tense type of lessons, we can either have a student, now the focus is the language. You want to teach the language, so maybe you could have drawings already done, or you have images that are already created for your students if you want to save time, or you can have them draw it if you have time. But that's an option. If you already have it drawn out, maybe make copies. And you have two characters, I don't know, a boy and a girl, and have them ask about, like, oh, hi, say, I'm gonna come up with names. Okay, the boy is named Bob and the girl's named Susan. So Bob and Susan are at a carnival, and Bob is asking Susan, what did she do? So her response has to be in past tense. So what's something that she did at the carnival, because she's coming back from the carnival now. So a student could think, oh, I came back from the Ferris wheel, or I just bought cotton candy from the vendor, and something like that. I think you could you gotta get creative and think of, there's plenty of ways that you can really take existing lessons and combine it with illustrations, or have students draw and come up with their own characters to talk and have conversations. Oh, and one thing I just want to say, I remember from the first meeting, I know a lot of teachers were concerned about, what if my students don't have drawing skills? What about if they don't feel comfortable? And my thought on that was, well, I'm sure there's some students that have some drawing skills in your group. What if we break them up into teams? So we can have a team, small teams, 3 or 4, and one person can be the drawer. One person can be the one that comes up with the words. Another person can maybe think of the characters, what they look like. Maybe another one could present it and speak it. Maybe there's one guy that can write the words good. Maybe there's one guy that can speak good. Maybe there's another student that can draw well. So try and think of it in a way like, how do I create teams of students to create stuff? And all in all, if students can't, if you don't have, if you do run into problems, students can act things out. I love acting. It's very fun to improv and act. If students don't want to draw at all, they can become their own characters. Let them become and act their own characters. So if we're gonna have, I don't know, a fish and a lobster are two characters, and they're gonna have a conversation. One kid could be bloop bloop the fish, and then the other one could be the lobster, and they can talk like, oh, what did you do today, Mr. Fish? And it could be fun. And if you have somebody, maybe it can be a whole group effort, and like maybe one kid's drawing out like what the lobster would look like or something like that. I think it could become a fun thing. But again, try to like keep the lesson like in a shell, don't go too wild with so many things. You want to try to keep it simple. Less is more. Any more
Yeah.
questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's a really cool idea.
Uh,
Where it went.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi.
I would like to ask a question to Mr. Frank, but before this, I would like to thank you for the brilliant presentation you are doing. My
You're
question
welcome.
is this:
Mhm.
how to use comics in blended learning, blended teaching? I would like
Repeat it again. I missed you.
how to use comics in blended teaching.
How to bring comics into teaching?
I think he meant
Blended,
You mean online
blended.
and in person at the same time? Is that what you mean, Pierre?
Yes.
Yeah. So what we have is sometimes some of the kids are at home and
Mhm.
some other kids are learning in school. So how would
Okay.
you do that with the classroom where half of them are at home and half are at school?
Okay. There are plenty of softwares online. Say one software I remember I used to use this as a kid to make some comics actually. PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, and also Google has a free version called Google Slides, and you can bring in pictures or you can bring in drawings. I think you can even draw in some of it. There's like a drawing pencil that you can use, and for like simple comics and simple conversations, you can have two characters talk to one another using a software like that. And the good thing about Google Slides is I believe multiple people can work on it at once. So you can see other people's cursors on the writing a story, and one guy's writing one part of the story up above, and then I'm like editing it on below. So you can have multiple people on one file, which is really cool with Google Docs and I believe Google Slides. But if we're all working remotely, I mean, I feel like we could all, we all have paper, we all have pencils, and we could ultimately draw our comics at home. Why that shouldn't be so tough. And if we're going to work in groups, that might be a little tough. If people are going to be working from home, I'd say people can either like draw for themselves or use a software if they're uncomfortable drawing, feel like their drawing skills or they just don't want to draw. You can use softwares and get pictures. You take pictures of yourself, take pictures of a friend or a pet, a cat or a dog, and you can put it in a software like Google Slides or there's a software that Armin was showing me. I think it's called Pixton or something like that. Yeah, and use a software like that to tell your story. Pixton, yeah, and there's quite a few online options as well. So you just got to think what can we do? What works good for your class? We can say, oh, maybe we use Google Slide, or maybe we use Pixton, or maybe we just let people draw. If we have some students that want to draw paper and pencil, that's fine. And everyone can do their lesson. Now, what lesson they do, that's up to you. Do you have a current lesson that you were going to teach that day? If so, then let's try and take it and migrate it into an idea that involves storytelling, that involves like comics.
Pinar had this idea to use the whiteboard feature, or if you have Google, you could use Jamboard to present any of your ideas. So use the whiteboard. I'm just saying what she said. Whiteboard feature of Zoom. Just sharing what she said, Frank.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I see her in the chat. Okay.
Jamboard's really good. I love Jamboard.
I never used it. Yeah.
Very good. Maybe like another one question, two questions. I think the main thing is to not have too many moving parts. The more moving parts you have, the more difficult it is for someone to follow, even if you're in the classroom with them.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was saying before, like try and condense it. You know, like don't make sure the lesson everybody's doing more so the things that the student has to do more so involve the lesson. Like if a student is struggling trying to draw the whole time, that's no good. We got to make it more about the learning.
Louise, do you want to share what you made?
I
I'm sharing it if you
yeah,
want.
so if anyone wants, I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen here. Just give me 1 second.
That's not working. You can share it.
So Armin is going to show you really cool later called Pixton that's going to give you a lot of creative control that you can be doing with your students. But if you just want something easy and quick as kind of a starter project, I just made this on Google Slides. So basically you can share this with all of your students so they can make their own, and I'll give you that step in just a second. So it's for Earth Day. We celebrate Earth Day on April 22nd. And the idea I had for my students was they were going to write a story from Earth's point of view, like what happened to Earth, like what hurts Earth's feelings. You can kind of
Cool.
take it in all different levels of English, but I'm going to be working with this with point of view. So they're going to add in their little caption bubbles by just going to insert text, and you can see they can go ahead and start typing right here and frame it on the bubble. My name is Earth. And it will fit right in there, or they can also include caption boxes right here and just go throughout the story and keep adding in their little caption bubbles until they get to the end and make whatever sense they want out of the characters. But one thing you always can kind of think about is students can also make like an audio version of this graphic novel. Google allows you to add audio to slides, so they can technically record voices and insert them in the slides. So that way, when they go to hit play, they can get that feature. They can also use Flipgrid to record themselves screen sharing, going through and kind of narrating out this story. But I just want to show you how to make a forced copy. So if you send this to students, then they're going to be able to edit your original. So just make sure that when you go to copy, hit share. And then go to change right here and hit that anyone with the link can be an editor. It's really important that they're an editor. Then hit copy link, and it's going to give you a link that I'll put right up here. Whenever you do this, make sure that you find where it says edit and delete everything after edit and hit copy. Now, when you do that, the students won't see your original, they'll see a copy, so they can't edit your original, they just edit their own. So you'll see after I take it here, it'll say, would you like to make a copy of this? And they'll select make a copy. And they'll have their own comic book to go ahead and start using. So I'll put the link to that in the chat, and you're welcome to hopefully have fun with Earth Day.
Breaking up a little there.
Were there any other questions or things that you wanted to ask Frank before we jump into some breakout rooms?
I like the question of Camila. My student doesn't like comics. What do I do? Is that more or less it, Camila?
My student doesn't like comics. I remember there was another question where I have older students, I have adults, and I feel they might feel comics are more for kids. What do I do? And that reminds me of that. And one thing, I believe the solution to that was to think you're writing a play or a movie or an episode of a show, and you have two characters, and instead of drawing them, or you could still draw them, you can do storyboard. So storyboards, they're used everywhere for visual creation for film, for comics, for cartoons. It's used a lot, storyboarding. And people will storyboard and draw out all the panels to just help tell the story visually so they can see it before they go ahead and hire actors or hire animators to do it all. So you could say, instead of saying comic, you could say, oh, we're going to storyboard out a episode or a show or a cartoon. And essentially it's like a little similar to comics, very similar. And you do the same thing. You do storyboard for comics, you do the storyboard for animation, you could do storyboard for a movie. And it's kind of just like, it's kind of twisting. You're still trying to get the student to do the same sort of thing, but you're kind of twisting it to try and make it fun for them. So you're saying, oh, what do you like? Do you like animation? Do you like movies? Do you like acting? Maybe you become the character. So as I was saying before, like a character, a student can become a character and act out. You can have two students act out the two characters that would have been in the comic. Now the students are those characters. One student can be, I don't know, a dinosaur, and the other one can be a caveman, and they could be talking to one another. And yeah, so there's ways to twist it around. I think if they don't want to do a comic, they don't like drawing, then you can maybe make a group that acts out these characters. It's really about the storytelling. You want to use storytelling to help with the language learning. That's ultimately the goal. So you want to have a conversation, maybe plan out brainstorm the characters, brainstorm the story, and have some sort of dialogue back and forth. Or you can even improv. I like improv, where you just come up with stuff on the fly. Like I just said, the caveman and the dinosaur. So the caveman comes up and he has a big stick, and he's like, "Why are you here?" And the giant dinosaur is, "Oh, well, I'm hungry." And, "Well, you're not going to eat me today," says the caveman. And then, I don't know, maybe the dinosaur is like, "But I'm vegetarian," and then eats the tree next to him. So just kids can come up with stuff right on the spot. And sometimes improv is a very good brainstorming tool as well. So you can improv and then write down the ideas you got from your improv. You just came up with it on the spot. Okay, maybe I like the idea of the dinosaur being a vegetarian, so that'll be in the story. And the cave, maybe instead of a caveman, there's another dinosaur. Like you can change it up and start to polish off your story, change the characters if you want. It's all with brainstorming. So yeah.
Wonderful. I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into great breakout rooms. So I'm going to go ahead and share the questions with you, but I'm also going to put them in the chat so you can see them. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. So our breakout question rooms today, we're just going to do 2 rooms. Your first question is going to be, how can you translate your existing lessons on storytelling into a virtual lesson with the tools presented today? So it sounds like Brian has a lot of insight in teaching grammar. He can now use that in comic books. If you're someone that you have a great lesson on fairy tales, how can you translate that into a comic book lesson? The second question we're going to look at is plan one lesson you can do with your students in this week using the tools and share it with your peers. So we're going to walk you through a few tools at the end, but make sure that you just go ahead and you can discuss with your breakout room some of these questions, and I will also put these in the chat.
Wonderful. So I guess I'll put people into the breakout rooms and come back together. And remember, the main point is a picture with words. People will do it in many different ways, but how could you use images, a picture with words? And I think that's it. We'll come back together in 8 minutes. Does that sound good, Louise and Frank and everyone?
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy the conversation of how you would apply this with your students, with your age level that you work with, or how you have planned it. Let's see if I can move people. You can just press join. It should work.
So make sure that when you get the pop-up message that says join or leave, that you hit join breakout room.
And if some people don't end up in a room, we may just have the conversation here, but just try to press join if you see it. Should come up on your phone.
Maybe we can go ahead and talk to everyone here. So does anyone have a great lesson that they want to share with us and maybe think about how they can use this in a comic book setting? One thing that I've been doing with my students a lot is we've kind of been talking about the idea of heroes. We read the book Circe this year for their summer reading. So I'm kind of thinking of, because in a book like Circe, which for those of you who aren't familiar, it's by Madeline Miller. She did kind of a reinterpretation of Greek mythology, but everything takes place from the point of view of Circe, one of the woman goddesses, who was a daughter of Zeus and kind of goes through a rough life. But I thought it would be cool if they draw out the characters that they had been reading about with their kind of descriptions of having many heads or a lot of hands, but couldn't actually ever see and visualize. So I think that's one way, is that you can kind of ask people to make pictures of something that they haven't seen before, but they've only read about. But I would love to hear from you guys. What other ideas do you have?
It's like we're solo on this one. I don't know. It seems like everyone got frozen, Louise.
I see people's pictures.
I see photos, but I don't know if they're speaking photos.
Am
I
I
was
talking to no one, Armin?
talking to me. I was just saying that today I was doing a spider, the steps of a spider. You know, like how does a spider make a web? How does it go branch to branch? And then I had people afterwards try to figure out, which is which part of the story. So like they would draw a little part of the spider and then be able to say first the spider, finds a branch. And then, next the spider looks for, another branch and connects them. And then next, and then like kind of connecting the sequential language with.
That's cool. Glaucia, did you just get on? Hello, Glaucia.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm sorry, my internet.
That's That's okay. No worries. How are you today? We hope you're doing well. We hope you're doing well.
Okay. Wonderland, would you like to share? How would you use a comic in your class? We're doing our best. Nope. Glaucia, I think she was one with the connection. Diana? It looks like we're the only ones here, Louise, from what it looks like.
Armin, I'm sorry. I had the hardest time like clicking to let people in today. I don't know why. And then sometimes I would click so much and finally they'd get in. So it would jump to you and it would say like, ask to mute this person. And I was like, oh no. But yeah.
What I think we'll do for the next one is just make much larger breakout rooms, maybe of 7 people. So then if you lose 4 of them, you still have 3 people talking.
And maybe it can also be a little shorter. I feel like this might be kind of a quiet crowd.
It's seeming like everyone had their dinner.
Yeah.
Shall I shut it down now?
Yes. Maybe our next one. I don't know. I don't know. Do you think we even need a next one?
I'll just show Brian's work from Pixton and
Okay.
then give feedback. Shall I close down?
I'm trying to think of like who else is in the other rooms and might be talking, and like whoever's in Frank's room, that is probably cool.
We're closing it down. The shop is closing.
Okay.
No one wanted to buy the goods because of the internet. Don't worry
That's
about
okay, Glaucia. That's okay. We're all struggling today. Don't worry about it.
Well, hi.
Hi,
Can you hear
Isabella.
me?
How are you?
I'm just trying to participate, but I'm still a student, so I don't have too much to share. But I'm here to learn, and I learned a lot from you guys.
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Okay. Does anyone want to share something they heard that they liked? Our group was very quiet. All we could hear was quietness. Anyone want to hear if someone said something in their group?
I have a question.
Sure.
I've lost the first 20 minutes because I had problem with my connection. Frank was explaining just one tool or several tools? I didn't understand.
He was explaining an approach. He wasn't telling you what tool to use because so many teachers have different realities. We don't want to tell you one thing.
Okay.
So, if your reality is paper and pencil, that's your reality. If all of your students have Chromebooks, then you're going to be using technology in a different way. So Frank didn't tell you what tool to use. He's giving you a new idea, and he's asking you to change the idea for the needs of your students using a tool that you know about. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope that's
Yeah, and I just made like a Google Doc of all the links that are shared so in the comments, so we'll be able to post those on Facebook so that you can go back, and Brian shared a link, other people have shared links and ideas, so you'll get access to all of the tools. Don't worry about your internet, no worries.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else want to share something they heard? We'll just get 2 or 3 people to share, and then we'll move forward. Something you heard that you liked as an idea.
We were looking at Brian's masterpiece in Pixton. That was fantastic.
Very good. Tell us about it. I can share it while you talk.
Yeah, that's about something that he wants to share about podcasting, how to teach his students to make a podcast. That's great.
So, Brian, are you still here? You can tell us about what you made
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Armin. And thanks, Juliana, Pinar, and Krishna. I just jumped in their group. It was the latter part. But this is my example. So I've created this comics as an intro on how I'm going to be teaching podcasting to my students. So, of course, before you teach, you must inspire first your students. So I created this comics to let them see how I was inspired in creating my podcast. So the characters would be me and a certain Mary. So it's like a conversation wherein we're just talking, and then I got an idea, and then it all popped out. And just like what's happening with my podcast right now, it was an idea from a training wherein I gained a lot, and it inspired me. As you can see at the latter part of the comics, I've answered the question, why did I choose to interview the teachers? Okay. Mainly because I wanted to give all the teachers voice so that they can, share their good practices. Of course, tell the world their journey because every teacher has their journey. So that's my main point. And at the last box, I added the link where they can check it out. So perhaps there would be an improvement here so that it can be a working link where they can, simply click it. So yeah, that's the backstory of this one.
And how long did it take you to make this, Bryant?
Uh, well, actually, it took me, I'll be honest, it only took me 30 minutes because I was really inspired in doing this. I already have the characters, the lines. It only took me 30 minutes because I need to put some emotions. I love using Pixton because you can put emotions, you can put effects. I love the background because the setting, it's in the school, and then it switched into my room, and then the box where you can put the scenario wherein it's going to be evening. It's really lovely. So 30 minutes with bright ideas, with all the informations, you could create a fantastic comics that your students would love.
And at the end, you just make a link and it's shareable, right?
Yeah, of course, we need to promote what I did. And yeah, I guess promoting is caring.
No, but that's part of it. Like, as teachers, we're actually salespeople. If I don't know if you realize, but you have to, every day we have to sell an idea to our students, and either
Yeah.
either they fall asleep or they stay awake. Right? So you are.
May I
Go, Yolanda. Go, Yolanda. Go ahead.
may I share mine? I
Sure.
was
I
working
just
on
wanted to
that.
say, Brian, that is really awesome. I'm going to be checking out Pixton. That's
Thank
really
you,
cool. And it's
guys.
awesome that you made that in 30 minutes. That's very cool.
I was really inspired. I was really inspired. That's why it didn't, take me an hour or so long because the inspiration is there, the passion is there. That's why everything worked immediately. The only difficult part is you need to put emotion to every character. That's why it took me 30 minutes.
brings the comic alive, though. You spend a little bit of
Yeah.
time and you make it look good.
Definitely, it gives life to my ideas.
Wonderful.
Well, mine was easier because I have been working on my own avatar. So what I was doing was just moving through the different scenes with my own avatar, like making it simpler.
Mhm.
But I don't know if you want to look at this.
Share it. You go ahead,
Share it.
Yes. Please.
Okay. Here it's mine. I just want, this is for business English. So I want my students to know how to write formal emails. Of course, I have to, I guess I wrote too much. So what I have to do is just to summarize a little bit. Yes, I wanted to put all the information in. Just that. That's my avatar now.
It looks
While you
just
were talking, I was adding the information. So what I have to do is just mastering or cutting the information, just that.
You gotta
Summarize.
condense, summarize. Yes,
Yeah.
but very good. I'm impressed.
So, Juliana, after students see this, are they going to write a letter as a comic?
Not as a comic, because I was thinking in introducing the topic first.
Oh,
They are
okay.
not, yes, this is just to use as introductory material for one class. Same as Brian, that's what I thought. Because for them to use this, they have to practice something later.
So you're using comics to engage your students with visuals so that they'll read it. They're more interested because they see the picture, they see the text bubble. It's much more compelling to read rather than if you just had this text just spilt on a regular piece of paper, then it's so boring. But now I'm more compelled to read it because there's these pictures and there's this character saying it all. And even though there's a lot of words there, I'm still compelled more to read it. So awesome.
I've used it before for them to write stories, in short stories.
Good, good. Yes.
Juliana, people want your link, so drop it in the chat box for us if possible. Show everyone how you share it, because a teacher, Saima in Pakistan, was asking.
That's what I was going to say, because I was trying to share it, but I cannot. Well, I don't know, because I had to get the plan to do it.
But did you hit the link that I sent you or no?
No, I just used one because I didn't remember that you placed one link in. It was in the group in Facebook, right?
Yeah, so if you want to get the paid option, I'm creating classrooms for teachers. And then once I create a classroom, I will give you a link if you want, and then you can join that classroom as a co-teacher, and then I'll give you another link that you can send to all your students, and then you'll have the paid version.
Okay.
If you want.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're offering it to our participants because we want you to do something with your students. That was amazing, Juliana. And Bryant, you guys are amazing. I need to catch up. Okay. So yeah, I guess we can explain this to everyone, Louise, no? I think that we've done enough of the sharing part. Just unmute yourself, Louise. Okay, she's saying, 1 second, she's talking, but we can't hear what she's saying. Okay, cool. So,
Sorry, I was getting the link to the Pixton sign up form. Here is the link that you use for Pixton sign up. If you give us this link, if you sign up through that Google form, that's what allows us to collect your email address and to make sure that we create you the 2 links that you need to use it for free.
Right, and you'll get the educational version for free, which is actually really interesting because in the educational Pixton platform, students can work together to make a comic together. So this was, I think it was to Pierre's question, how do I get students who are in class or at home working together? You make groups, and then you have, them create their own comic and then invite each other. They probably need to.
So it works similar to Google Docs.
It's similar to Google Doc.
Interesting.
Okay. So we're waiting for you, and me and Louise will hook you up with an account. And all we ask for you to do is make something amazing like Juliana and Bryant. And the whole point is to inspire our kids. Right? Either they're sleeping or they're excited. So let's not be the teachers who are making the kids sleep. Leave that for someone else.
Hopefully excited.
Let's keep them excited but also learning. Brian, you want to say something?
Yeah,
Please.
Armin, I just got a question because the Google link that you've shared, the form, sorry, there's the teacher login link and then the student login link. So which of the two should we use? Or because when I click the teacher, When I start to log in, it shows student. And then with the student, yeah, it shows student as well. So
I may have given you the mistaken link, so I'll work on that. But what's going to happen is once you sign up, we're going to hook you up with a link. Let me just share my.
mhm.
We're going to hook you up with a link. It may not be the correct one, so I'll fix it, Brian. But it should be an invitation link for a teacher. And you would click the teacher invitation link for you to sign up as a teacher. I'll fix it, Brian. It's
Sure,
possible.
sure.
And then you'll give this other link to your students. So
Mhm.
it's similar to Google Classroom where you could invite someone to be a co-teacher. So what I'm doing is inviting you as a co-teacher, and this will be the code that students can use, the right one, in column H, for them to
Mhm.
log in. So it should work. If it isn't, Brian, I will check again. Cool?
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Because I was thinking, Armin, that with the student link, I can ask my students to create their own comics
But that's
for,
what
our lesson.
and then it'll all be inside. Let me get it. All of it, and we're trying to choose one tool. So someone's asking what's one tool you want to use. If your kids have access to a cell phone, this works on Android or iPhone or a computer, they can use this. And then we'll have all of the classrooms of all the teachers in our project with a Pixton. So this is the goal. And I don't know, Louise, is there anything? Why are we doing this? We're gonna give like gifts to people after, right, Louise? With the teachers who have the most, student work. What are we gonna give, Louise, as gifts to teachers?
The idea is that instead of just like attending the course just to have fun and talk, which it is fun and we want to talk, but also to kind of promote engagement. So for everyone that's going about creating a lot of things, we've seen a lot of cool examples already. We want to be able to give you additional accounts to use in the realm of education technology. So Padlet subscriptions, different online tools that you can use to take your classes further. But part of that is really just about being part of the conversation. We have a saying in English, be a part by taking part. So you take more the more you give. So I guess just be as creative as possible and be part of the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any other questions or doubts? I'm going to put this link one more time in chat for the Pixton registration.
For anyone who wants it. We'll fix Brian's link so that he can sign in as a teacher. So you'll hit a link and then it'll allow you to sign in as a teacher, I believe. I hope. And that's it. Can we give some feedback for Frank? Can we do the next step, Louise, right? Feedback for Frank. If you want to give a little feedback for Frank, he would be very happy. There's the link. I don't think there's a lot more to say, Louise, other than we want everyone inviting all of your students to start creating comics about topics that you're doing in your class. Like I'm doing something with like sequential language because I'm in primary. First, next, then, and like telling a story. So hopefully I'm gonna have them use a comic eventually to tell a story using first, next, then, last at the end. So that's my goal for my 9-year-olds from Honduras and Guatemala. Yeah.
If there are no other questions or doubts, we can go ahead and we can kind of do a relaxing stretch to go ahead and send us on our way. So everyone, if you just want to go ahead and follow me, the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to twist our hands together like a knot, push up, pull down, stretch them out. Now twist them back the other way, push up, pull down. Now shake them out Now, this is something I'm going to push my computer back a little bit. I feel a little silly doing this, but I like to call these my swans.
Don't break it.
So bear with me. Everyone go ahead and hold your arms like this, bent, and your arms facing up. Look at Armin laughing already. He's seen me do this before and he's embarrassed for me. Okay, ready? So here we go. We're just going to go out and in, just like we're a swan, gliding ourselves along the water, letting nothing get in our way. There's a breeze, but we keep swimming. Okay, very good. Now, everyone, just give yourself a nice hug. Hug the swan. Love the swan. Embrace the swan. Okay, and before we go, everyone, we want to make sure that we give Frank a huge we want to make sure that morning jokes. We want to make sure that we give Frank a huge round of applause. This was absolutely wonderful to bring such creativity to us. So
Thank you.
Frank.
Does anybody have any more questions for me? Or are we good?
We hope to see you all at our next event that will be on Sunday at 8 a.m. No more swans.
We're going to be meeting ducks on Sunday, so get ready. The ducks are coming. If there aren't any more questions, I guess we're wishing you a wonderful morning or day wherever you are. And we can't wait to see amazing creations from you. And let's keep our students awake. Okay? So thank you, Frank. Thank you, Brian. Brian, how do we say bye in Tagalog?
You can say paalam.
Palang. All right. So palang.
Salam.
Bye.
Alam.
Meron nyo. Atilogo.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Salam.
Good night, everybody.
Good man here.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Amani. Bye, Joshua. Bye, Fabiana. Bye, Josiel. Peace. All right, I'm shutting down. Bye, Krishna. Bye, Juliana.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Frank, Brian.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Ben and Yon.
Have a nice day.
Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.